Hi guys, it's Prophetess Janelle here again, and I want to come to just share with you something that the Lord had been speaking to me about. We're going to be talking about three separate things on today, but I want to go right into it. So before I go talking about these three different topics, I want to share with you guys something because a lot of people may not understand, some of the things that the Lord shows me, but I want to kind of explain to you guys what it is. So I'm a prophet. I've been ordained a prophet. God is the one who ordained me to be a prophet in the earth. This is my purpose, why I was born. But God has also given me a gift, and the gift that He has given me is called foresight. So many people may not understand the gift of foresight, but what the gift of foresight is the ability to prophetically see what will happen or be needed in the future. So the Lord had me do a study on, the different sights, insight, hindsight, and foresight. And one of the areas that He deals with me particularly heavy in is foresight, the ability to see into the future. And so I've had the gift for a while. I had it even really before I really gave my life truly to God. It's a gift that He gives me. So He gave me this gift, and so really what I do with it is he begins to show me things that will happen in the future. So even when I first gave my life to Christ, when I rededicated my life, I should say that better, when I rededicated my life to Christ, and He gave me this gift, so I would see things, for example, like I would be able to see like my day before it happens, or like stuff that would happen the next week before it happens. So that's just a gift. So now for my assignment that He's given me, He's given me the ability to see things that will happen in the future and to be able to warn and to prepare people. And so I spoke about it in a different video, that the gift of foresight, what the Lord taught me in my study, was it's used for three things: either to prepare, to prevent, or to pray. And so some of the things that He will allow me to speak on is for you to be prepared. So I want to show you guys, because a lot of people may not understand that this gift is a gift given by God, and it's biblical. It's in the Bible. There are many other prophets that had this gift. Daniel had the gift to see visions. He saw visions of the present and also visions of the future. Ezekiel had the gift to see visions. John on the islands of Patmos, he wrote the book of Revelation. He saw visions. Not only did he see visions of the present, what was happening in present day, but he also saw visions of the future in the end time. So this is a gift that God has given unto me. So I just wanted to get that, because a lot of people may have the gift and they may not know that they have that gift to be able to see, or they may not understand what the gift is for. But God gives the gift. So don't neglect the gifts. Listen, don't neglect the gifts that God's given unto you. So there's a scripture in Hosea 12 verse 10. It says, I have also spoken by the prophets and have multiplied visions and dreams, visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So that's one of the examples that the Lord showed. And then if you go to 1 Kings 22 verse 7, in the story with Jehoshaphat, there was a prophet that came to inquire of the prophet. One of the kings didn't like him because he said he always spoke against him. He never spoke anything good. But even in that, he showed him, they inquired of him whether they should go to war or not. And the prophet told them this is what's going to happen. So he was able to prophetically see into the future. So I want to go right into it. So in last year, March 25th, exactly a month ago, I was in prayer. And as I began to pray, the Lord spoke to me. He gave me the word Antarctica. So at first I was a little bit like, okay, where are we going with this? But then as I began to pray even more, He was like, listen, I need you to go where I'm taking you. So as I began to pray, I said the name Antarctica, and immediately my eyes were open and I saw the bottom of the earth, and I saw the continent of Antarctica. And so I saw it. And as I began to pray, what I saw these big blocks of ice begin to move from off of the continent and melt into the sea. Okay. And as I began to pray, the Lord began to give me this word. He said, forming new landlines. It will melt, the water will melt, and it will begin to form new landlines. Right. So this is not something that I looked up, something I was thinking about. This is something that the Lord gave to me, and He revealed it to me for a purpose. He wanted me to be aware of it, and He's had me paying attention to it ever since. So about probably maybe 2 days later, I was on my computer, and I saw on the watching news where Antarctica had a record heat wave, and they were showing a picture of parts of the continent where there was ice at one point, and then all of a sudden the ice had disappeared and melted. So from there, he had me paying attention to the things that were happening there. And then one night, the Lord took me into a dream, and he took me to Antarctica. So the Lord would do that to me. Also, he'll take me to different places, and I will travel to different countries or whatever, and he'll show me things. So one thing that I saw when he took me was, he took me underneath the water, guys. I went underneath the water. I was in Antarctica. I went underneath the water, and I saw that there was a man there, and they were mining parts of the continent. They were literally cutting pieces away of the continent and selling it. So the Lord began to tell me that there is some type of mineral or a rock or some kind of rock formation that they're going to discover. They're going to discover it, though they may not have discovered it yet. They're going to discover it, and it's going to be worth a lot of money. And people are going to go to Antarctica to go into mine in Antarctica because they're going to discover something that is going to be very valuable in the future. So remember that, guys, that is going to happen. He showed me that. He took me there and he showed me that. So also, this is something that the Lord spoke to me, because the Lord gave me a vision about waters overtaking parts of the country, and I don't want to really speak too heavily on it as of yet, but he showed me that a long time ago. And what he began to speak to me is, he said a lot of people are blaming a lot of these things on global warming, and some people might say natural selection, but he told me this. He said as the waters begin to melt off of Antarctica and different places around the country, the scientists are not going to understand why the amount of water that is going to come and form new landlines and cover certain areas of the world and of the continents. They're not going to understand why, because the amount of water that is going to come, the level of the ocean that's going to rise, the sea rise level, is not going to match the amount of ice that is going to melt from these continents. And this is what the Lord showed me as I began to pray. He began to take me underneath, and I saw water coming up from underneath the earth. So he gave me this word. He said underwater sea vents. So when I went to go look up the underwater sea vents, what I saw was that scientists believe that and I know this is a lot, but scientists believe that the underwater sea vents, what happens is it takes the water from the ocean and then it goes down into the earth, and there's like a pocket of like, I believe like lava, something like that, and it begins to heat it up and then shoot it back out from those underwater sea vents. But what the Lord was showing me is that's what they believe it is, but it's not so. There's water that is in the earth that is going to come up. And I said, Lord, like, I believe you. Like, you tell me these things, I believe you. I said, but I need you to show me this thing in the Bible. So he took me there, you guys. It's in the Bible. Watch this. Watch God, because God's word never lies. Listen, he took me there. He took me to Genesis. It's in the book of Genesis with Noah's flood. And we're going to go to Genesis, and it's chapter 7. And let's go to verse 11. So it says, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. He took me right there. Genesis chapter 7, starting at verse 11. So there are fountains in the deep that are going to break up, and water is going to come, and they're not going to understand how the sea level rose to this level, because the amount of ice that's going to melt is not going to match how much water is going to come and overtake the lands. Listen to me. This is how God wanted me to know so sure that this is what he spoke. And after he showed me this about Antarctica, I had two separate people come and begin to tell me, one had a vision and one had an experience in prayer that they had concerning a continent, and another one had another vision about an island in the Caribbean island, where she showed me where she was there. And in the Caribbean, one of the Caribbean islands that she is from, they were just sitting in water. They were just working in water. The water had came, she said, a foot high. And God was confirming to me that what he showed me was true. It's coming. He showed me many years ago about a specific place, and it was overtaken by water. A large part of the state was overtaken by water. So that's one thing that he showed me about Antarctica. And then another thing I want to share with you guys is something that the Lord had me showed me in prayer. I was in prayer another morning, and as I began to pray, he took me, and I want to give you guys this, because some people have this, you may not understand. As I begin to pray, the Lord would allow me to see like visions as I pray. So when I began to pray, I went and I saw under the water. He took me under the ocean, and I saw it's like almost like an underwater sea vent, and but was shooting forth from it came like a black thick, like I don't know if it was like oil or a cloud that was coming out from under the bottom of the ocean. And I saw there was a large whale, and the whale just began to spin itself upside down in circles, and what I heard was the Black Death. That's what I heard, the Black Death. And the Lord said there is something great that's going to come upon our oceans that is going to take out a large amount of our creatures underneath the ocean. And I also heard extinction. So that's the second thing I want to speak to you guys about. There's going to come some pollution and some kind of contamination. I'm not sure if it's some kind of like bacteria or something that's going to come in the earth, but it's going to affect our ocean life. It's going to affect our ocean life. And the name that he gave me for was the Black Death. Okay, these are things that are coming. He's showing us ahead of time so that we do not be taken by surprise, when they come, that it is from him. It's not global warming. It's not none of these things. Listen, God is allowing these things to happen, though they may try to explain it away by that, but it's going to happen. The Bible said it's going to happen, and it's coming to pass as he said. Now, this is the third thing I want to share with you guys, and all of this has to do with water, so I wanted to put the video together. I told you, I spoke about it in another video about the gas and how the Lord was telling me about the oil and things that were going to happen with OPEC. But he took me to this place. He told me this word, and I wrote it down and I waited. He gave me the Caspian Sea. I had never known anything about it beforehand. He gave it to me, and I wrote it down and I waited. So then, he brought it back to my attention, and I went and I looked it up. And the Caspian Sea is like a large body of water. Some debate it to be a lake. Some debate it to be, it's named a sea, but it borders 5 countries. One of them is Russia, Turkey, I believe, Saudi Arabia. And so the Lord began to speak to me concerning it. And when I looked it up, there's a large supply of crude oil in the Caspian Sea. So what the 5 countries did, they divided their land so that everybody could get a share of the oil. And he showed me that there are some oil refineries there where they take the oil out of the earth. But what I heard from that place as I began to look, I heard the word oil spill, and I heard explosion. So I want you guys to keep your eyes on that. I truly believe that's going to happen there, but I know for sure the Lord told me oil spill, and I heard the word explosion. And I want to let you guys know something as well. Like, the Lord is in control of all of this. He is in control of all these things. He says, listen, when God's judgments come upon the earth, the people, the inhabitants, learn righteousness. Listen to me. Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, said this. He learned obedience through the things that he suffered. God knows how to get his people attention. He knows how to get the world's attention. We may look at it and say, if God's so good, why is he allow all these things to happen? Because he wants us to live. That's why. If we continue to have, a good economy, all these things, we will never come back to him. Many will die and perish. But if he allows these things to come, God is all wise, all knowing, people. God is all wise, all knowing. He rather for us to be saved than us to go to hell. He did not come to condemn the world, but through him many might be saved. He wants us to believe in him. He wants us to come back to him. So he has to get our attention. And just like in the Old Testament, he used these things to get their attention. And God is still the same God. He's still a God of love. He's still a God of mercy. He's a God of long suffering. He's a God of justice. But guess what? He is also a God of judgment. So I want to share that with you guys once again, people of God. We are in times of darkness, but the Lord told me one thing. The children of God have no need to fear in times of darkness. So people, I want to warn you guys again, be prepared. A famine is coming, okay? I'm not talking about a famine in this video, but it is coming. Be prepared. Get your stuff. Get your non-perishable items, because the Lord said a famine is about to hit this land. I live in the United States of America, so I know that something's going to happen globally, but I know for sure I saw that there are families about to hit this land of the United States of America. It's coming. It's coming to the globe. It's just as it says it's going to be. You can read Isaiah chapter 55. I believe Isaiah chapter 13 is coming in the land. It's coming. God is going to do what he needs to do to get his people's attention. The book of Revelation is 100% accurate. It's true. Everything that we see here is going to come to pass, people. We don't need to be deceived. We don't need to get caught up in media, because God is our forecaster, and whatever he needs us to know, he will tell us. So like, share. You guys remember go back and look at the other videos if you want to see the other words the Lord has given me. But you guys be blessed and have a great day.